everybody? Welcome to a brand new edition of the MEAC More here on on the HBCU Sports YouTube channel. Wrong outlet. I have like so many different podcasts, y'all wouldn't believe it. But anyway, I'm Chris Stevens, contributing writer for HBCU Sports and the host of the MEAC More. Hopefully, you all are doing well. Reached midpoint of the week. For those of us, I know a lot of y'all are mostly in the South, but it seems like this winter storm everybody's predicting is going to touch everybody. So hopefully you guys have been able to get to the grocery store. Hopefully you guys have power generators and different things. You got some heat going because it's supposed to be a monster across the country this week. And people are like, well, if it's winter, how do you have global warming? People just don't understand climate science. But anyway, hopefully you guys are safe and sound this weekend and we can, make it through this storm okay. But yes, as usual, the MEAC More is sponsored by Rock Solid Contracting and Development, based out of Wilmington, Delaware. Rock Solid Contracting and Development handles all your construction, demolition, and remediation needs. If you need something built, they'll build it. If you need something torn down, they'll tear it down, and a whole lot more. For more information, go to rocksolidworks.net. And of course, Rock Solid Works is a HBCU owned and operated organization. Thank you to Norman Oliver, who so generously has agreed to sponsor this program throughout the duration of the academic and athletic year here for HBCU Sports. Next up, I also have a music podcast. If you guys are not familiar, I have a music podcast called On the Groove Line. I talk all things old school, hip hop, R&B, jazz, and all of that good stuff. And I have a special guest lined up. I have an interview lined up next week. So you're going to want to tune in for this interview. If you guys want to go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, there is the link. And if you guys are looking for a hint from my guest, all I can say to you is their lucky number is 454. If you know what I'm talking, if you know, you know. So yeah, shouts out to my music podcast On the Groove Line. If you guys want to subscribe, you can go do that. And we got a lot to talk about this week in terms of basketball. But before we get to that, how about the performance from this young man this past weekend in the NFC divisional round? Kobe Durant, the South Carolina State Bulldog, who has been called the land shark. And boy, did he really make Caleb Williams' life a living hell on a Sunday evening as the Los Angeles Rams defeated the Chicago Bears in overtime to advance to the NFC Championship game, where they will play the Seattle Seahawks next weekend. Well, not this weekend, Sunday at 6 p.m. on 6:30 on Fox. And I am so excited to see Kobe do well, because the more he does, the more work he puts in. And don't forget Terrell Jennings, he's playing for the New England Patriots on the AFC side, former Florida A&M running back. So the more HBCU athletes shine on the next level, the more people start to say, maybe we need to take a look at these HBCUs again. And for Kobe Durant, this is just what he does in the postseason. In 5 postseason games, he has 4 interceptions. That's good work. That is really, really good work. And for a kid, from South Carolina to make it all the way to the pros, from South Carolina State to make it all the way to the pros. Oh, God, here goes Adrian Crook in the chat. Said he's 100 times better than Travis Hunter. Let's be fair. Travis got hurt this year. We didn't get to see the full Travis Hunter on the pro level. Hopefully he heals up. Hopefully he's back next year. And the fact of the matter is, real quick, before we go back to Kobe, Travis Hunter needs to be a defensive back full time. Simple as that. Until he can build his body up enough to where he can be as strong as Deion was, to where Deion could eventually play both sides of the ball. But for right now, Travis Hunter needs to be a DB. Simple as that. But yeah, back to Kobe Durant. This young man came from South Carolina State. Not a lot of fanfare, but he is the Los Angeles Rams' most dependable cornerback at this point in time. And some troll tried to get under the HBCU Sports Twitter feed about he was Caleb Williams' best friend on that tying touchdown. You saw Cole Kmet shove that boy in the back. We all saw it. The ref just let it go, probably because he thought Caleb Williams threw up a ball that wasn't going to be anywhere near caught. So he's like, oh, wow, can we really overturn this and risk being, booed out of Chicago or worse? So we all saw Cole Kmet push Kobe Durant in the back, but it didn't hurt that much. I mean, of course it hurt because it forced the game to overtime, but it didn't hurt the Rams that much game anyway. So Kobe Durant, shouts out to him. Wonderful, wonderful performance from him. And he's got another big time assignment ahead of him Sunday because Jack's what's that young man's name? Jackson Smith and Jiba, however you say his name, for the Seahawks. That's a tough cover. That's going to be a tough cover for Kobe on Sunday, but I think he's up to the challenge. So big ups to him, for performing on the big stage. And once again, giving HBCU football players a boost. Because we talk about this every spring. Wow, which HBCU player is going to get the shaft this year, even though they're probably one of the best at their position. They've won countless awards. They've done well in combines and senior bowls and all of that. And so it's like we struggle with this every spring when it comes to an NFL draft and draft evaluation. And when you think about what Kobe Durant has been able to do, how Terrell Jennings has been a vital piece to that New England Patriots offense. Give black college kids a chance, man. That is all we are saying. We're not saying we want preferential treatment. We're not saying, you don't, and for God's sakes, we're not asking for sympathy or, these poor HBCU guys, let's give them a look just to, so we can feel good about ourselves. No, do it because these kids can actually freaking play. It's really that simple. It is really that simple. I mean, we could talk about how HBCU players across different sports just continue to just be screwed over and over and over again. I'm still annoyed, by the way, that Diamond Johnson got shafted by the Minnesota Lynx. That's why they didn't win the championship this year. That's why Cheryl Reed didn't win the championship this year, because she did Diamond Johnson dirty. You telling me Diamond Johnson is better than Natisha Heidemann? I mean, Natisha Heidemann is better than Diamond Johnson? Come on. I watch the WNBA all season, and I watch Unrivaled. No, there's no way that Natisha Heidemann is better than Diamond Johnson. No. Not buying it. I'm sorry. But yeah. Anyway, HBCU athletes across all sports deserve every rightful chance as PWI athletes. Because as it's shown, when they show up, they show out. And big ups to Kobe Durant for doing that. And as we are talking about HBCU women's basketball, we all know that Dawn Staley and her South Carolina Gamecocks took a trip to Baltimore this past weekend to play Coppin State. And Coach Staley had some very pointed comments that I thought were interesting that I wanted to talk about. And Kendrick Marshall actually highlighted this for us. But if you missed the comments, here's what Coach Staley had to say.
To measure his team. Because I remember when I was at Temple, we couldn't get very many high-level Division I teams to play us, let alone play us on our home court. So I always think about those times and give people an opportunity to play a game like this. And it's just a measuring stick. And whether or not...
You heard it. It's a measuring stick. And for Daryl Mosley, to tell you how old I am, I was a freelancer, part-time college student finishing up my degree at Delaware State when Daryl Mosley was a freshman on the Delaware State men's basketball team 20 years ago. So that tells you how long I've been in this thing. But yeah, Daryl Mosley, he's a great coach. He coached women's at Lincoln. He was an assistant at the University of Delaware. He followed Natasha Adair out to Arizona State, then came back to coach the Coppin State women. So after Jermaine Woods left for Norfolk State, of course, Larry Vickers left for Auburn. So what Coach Staley is saying is correct. This is a great opportunity for Coach Mosley and his team to see where they measure up, not just in the MEAC space of things, but in the Division I space of things. So being able to see what your team is like against Joyce Edwards, against Tessa Johnson, and Alicia Tornabys, the young lady from France, who put her first good performance together since she came from overseas. So I know Coach Mosley and his staff and his players are probably thinking, okay, we've seen the best of the best. Now let's go back to the MEAC and assert ourselves. So that was a huge win for Coppin State, and it's a huge win for HBCUs. And Dawn Staley's generosity should not go unnoticed. Like she constantly seeks out HBCUs. This is the first time she's gone on the road and played one. But there's always an HBCU squad that ends up finding their way to Columbia, South Carolina in the early stages of the regular season, a Division I HBCU at that. So Coach Staley, she puts her money where her mouth is. I mean, that's what you expect from somebody from North Philly. I mean, they're real people. They They about that life, basically. And Coach Staley is just one of those ones that just deserves a ton of credit. And people are like, oh, why doesn't she coach at the HBCU? That's a fair question. But I don't think at Dawn Staley's level, and this isn't a knock on HBCUs, Dawn Staley was always going to be a big time college coach. Because let's be clear, she played at the University of Virginia, made it to the Final Four a couple times, was a WNBA All-Star for countless years. And mind you, she was coaching Temple while she was still playing in the WNBA. Like, she was pulling double duty. And I don't think there's a player today on the women's side that can do what Dawn Staley has been able to do. Be a WNBA All-Star level player and still run a competitive Division I women's basketball program. Because that's what she was doing at Temple. And then when South Carolina State, when South Carolina State came calling, it was like, oh wow, this is a shock. Can she do it? Can she do it? And all she's done is build South Carolina State into I keep saying South Carolina State. And all she's done is build South Carolina into an absolute monster. She's won national championships. She's put together undefeated seasons. She's put countless players in the WNBA. So I'm not saying Dawn Staley coaching at the HBCU would be a step backwards. If anything, it would elevate everything. But I think what she realizes is she can best use her position as one of the top 3 women's basketball coaches in the country. Because whether you like it or not, it's Dawn, it's Gina Auriemma, and God, I can't stand Gina Auriemma, and Kim Mulkey. That's it. That's the list. That's your top 3. And a black woman being among those top 3, she can use her position better from that angle to advocate for HBCUs, for smaller programs, for, more black players and black coaches to get their shine. And it's important that it comes from a place of, being genuine. Because whenever Kim Mulkey talks about HBCUs, it sounds like, Miss Ann talking. It sounds like a white woman who is aggrieved, actually, that, that it's white guilt that she has to go play an HBCU. Like, I'll never forget when she was talking about how, I forgot coach's last name. That's going to mess with me. Jackson State's coach, Coach Tamika. I'm so mad I forgot her last name. Somebody please help me in the chat because that is embarrassing. But yeah, what's up, Silas? Thank you for checking in. Ryan Bunn said the Central Ladies played in South Carolina early season. Yeah, Dawn does this all the time, man. Dawn does this all the time. And I'm so mad I forgot Coach Tamika's last name. And somebody please help me in the chat. But what the point is, Kim Mulkey was like, she needs more resources. She should be coaching at a higher level. And it's like, why is that on your mind? Why are you in black people's conversations? Why are you in HBCU sports conversation? Reed, thank you, Ken. Oh my God. It was so easy. It was right there on the tip of my tongue. Coach Tamika Reed. How could I forget her? One of the best to do it. She's having success at UNC Charlotte too. Proof that she was going to be a great coach anywhere. But yes, Kim Mulkey is just like, her and Gina Auriemma, they just rubbed me the wrong way. I'm sorry. Neither one of them can touch the hem of Pat Summitt's garment. That's my personal opinion. Pat Summitt is still the GOAT women's coach, in my personal opinion. Don't care what anybody else say. You can like Gino, that's your choice. You would be liking a jerk. You can like Kim, that's your choice. You may be liking a homophobe. But I think Pat Summitt is tops of tops. And God rest her soul, always will be. But Dawn Staley being in that top 3 of women's college basketball coaches, she can best advocate for HBCUs from that position, I think. So, and she takes every opportunity to do so. So kudos to her. And moving on, we got to talk about the hottest team in black college men's basketball right now. That would be the Tennessee State Tigers. And they are putting together a tremendous season in Nolan Smith's first year as head coach. The Tigers right now, as someone pointed out to me last week, the top 2 teams in the OVC automatically make the OVC semifinals. So this is what the standings look like right now. Tennessee State is a half a game behind UT Martin for first place. They're tied with Little Rock right now, but I think they have the head-to-head over Little Rock. So Tennessee State right now is playing some strong basketball It's important, and it's important to note their top two scorers come from the Division II and the Division III level. One kid came from Clayton State, another one came from a D3 in Massachusetts. So we got to start talking about how the gap in terms of basketball talent and what constitutes a Division I player has shrunk a little bit. There's a lot to like about this era. I mean, there are a lot of things that you don't have to like about college basketball. I mean, for crying out loud, today a kid in the G League just got an injunction that says that he could play college basketball at Alabama. So there's a lot that you don't have to like about this, but I do like the fact that the portal has coaches reevaluating what makes a Division I basketball player. And Nolan Smith has done a great job in recruiting guys that didn't work out in previous stops. They have one kid who played previously at Georgetown, Virginia, and Memphis under Penny Hardaway. And Nolan Smith was an assistant under Penny in Memphis, so he just followed Nolan to Coach Smith to Tennessee State, to Nashville. So this Tennessee State ball club is playing really, really strong basketball right now. There's still a lot of OVC play left, but again, it would be wonderful to have 3 HBCUs in the men's tournament, because we already know we're going to get one from the MEAC. We're going to get one from the SWAC. And if we get Tennessee State to win the OVC, even better. And hopefully that comes to pass. But as far as the MEAC goes, Maryland Eastern Shore, they're still undefeated, man, on both sides, men's and women's. And I don't know if there's a question of how long they can hold it, but when they hold it and they get to the tournament, what do they do? Because again, this is a program that has sort of kind of been like the redhead stepchild of the MEAC in terms of basketball, at least on a Division I level. Of course, we all know, again, Maryland Eastern Shore, when they were Maryland State, made the NIT semifinals in 1974. That's a long time ago. I don't think anybody on this chat remembers 1974. Most of us weren't even born in 1974. I know I wasn't. Shouts out to Soldier Rag, said, my dream is to get 4 HBCUs in March Madness. The key is, though, that they're not in the first 4. Do you know how annoying that would be to have your MEAC and SWAC winner play each other off, and then if Hampton or A&T wins the Coastal and Tennessee State wins the OVC and they have to play each other off? That would be absurd. Yes, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Oh, yeah, we're looking for super chats, too. Super chats, $5 a pop, or whatever you can give. It can be $1, it can be $2, $5, or if you have that Mackenzie Scott money, we'll take 20 million. Something slight, nothing too harsh. But yeah, if you want to drop a super chat while we are on the air, we'd love to have you guys' donation so we can keep this lovely operation going. We are trying, y'all. We are trying. And as you see with different outlets across the country, whether they be black owned, white owned, everything independent media is harsh. It's a challenge. So we need y'all's help. So yeah, we got the Cash App scrolling across the screen. Cash App, $HBCU Sports. We got Zelle. You can go to the Zelle app, donate at hbcusports.com. You can also go to hbcusports.com/donate. You can also buy Ken Rashad's book, HBCU Sports 101, A Guide to Understanding Black College Athletics. He's still signing them as long as y'all going to pay for him. So go buy Ken's book and tell Ken, hey, Ken, can you sign this copy for me? And he's going to sign the thicker, the copy that you can sit by your fireplace with a pipe and just read about Jackson State, Florida A&M, and all of that. I mean, do people really smoke pipes still nowadays? I just thought about that. And I'm not talking about the negative pipe either. I'm just talking about the regular old smoker's pipe. You get the picture. I'm trying to set the scene for you guys. But yes, go buy Ken Rashad's book, HBCU Sports 101, A Guide to Understanding Black College Athletics. You'll be glad you did. So yeah, those are the ways that you can support this wonderful operation. Soldier Rag said, if they would put all HBCUs in the first 4, we could ride like Jane did. Oh boy, that's funny. And I mean, oh boy, don't get me started. I've been told that I need to tone down on the politics, so I'll save that for something that isn't HBCU sports. I'll probably put that on Twitter somewhere. But yes, Ryan Bunn said Howard's big men punked the Central big men. They were hot in the second half. Central went cold, embarrassed to lose like that at home. And sorry, you had a little nasal drip here. It's cold in my apartment because, well, I just turned off the heat because I didn't want the heat to be in the background. I might need to turn the heat back on. But yeah, Howard, they're still very much in this race. Make no mistake about it. I don't know if UMES is just on a charmed run right now, but I think the Howard men and women are still going to be heard from by the time we get to MEAC tournament play. Because I think Norfolk State, we need to talk about what Debria Clark did last week for the women's team. 9 3-pointers in a win over South Carolina State. And people are going to say, well, it was South Carolina State, but you still need to win those games. And Debria Clark showed out, set a school record with 9 3-point buckets. She was on her Steph Curry, or maybe on her Caitlin Clark, or maybe on her Sabrina Ionescu. But yeah, shouts out to Debria Clark of Norfolk State, putting together a wonderful performance, 30 points in all, that earned her Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Women's Player of the Week honors. And again, you can't count out Norfolk State either on the women's side or the men's side. It is entirely too early. It is entirely too early to, really start forecasting what the MEAC looks like. But UMES is a wonderful story. I mean, again, this is a school that hasn't played football in nearly 50 years and probably won't again. They have not had as much basketball success. And here they are, the men and the women, the only unbeaten teams left in the MEAC. Everybody else has lost the game. So you've got to really take notice of what Cleo Hill Jr. is doing on the men's side, and what Malika Willis is doing on the women's side. And I think the UMES men are the bigger surprise because they looked bad in some spots last year. I think that's why Coach Hill hit the portal and said, we got to reset. But Coach Willis's team, they won 14, 15 games a year ago. So this isn't like the UMES women are just coming out of nowhere. It seems like this is a gradual progression for them. So there's a lot to like about what UMES is doing right now. But again, you still can't count out, Howard on the men or the women's side. You can't count out Norfolk State on the men or women's side. The biggest disappointment in the MEAC, it's my Delaware State Hornets. We can't buy a break right now. We lost to Morgan State in a doubleheader by a total of 2 points. That's right. They lost each game by 1 point. The Morgan State women won on a putback at the buzzer, and the Delaware State men lost by a single point because, well, they just ran out of time. They spent most of the second half coming back from double digits, but just ran out of, time at the end for a final shot. And the Delaware State men and women are the only ones that have not won a game in MEAC play yet. That is, boy. And it's not good. It's not good. Not gonna lie to you. But I think and I'm not making excuses, but I will say this. The Delaware State women had 2 players return from last year. 2. The Delaware State men lost a lot in the portal. And, Martez Robinson graduating. So Stan Waterman is doing his best to get the men's team back up to par. Jazz Turner, again, she had the awkward task of coming in mid-season for a coach that just stopped showing up. And when you think about that, imagine you are working with or under somebody, and then they just say, okay, I ain't doing this no more. No real formal. There was never a formal announcement regarding what was going on with EC Hill. There was never a formal announcement because that's how embarrassing that situation was. Like the woman just said, bleep it. That's basically what happened. And everybody's like, well, wow, Coach Turner is coaching the team now. And it's like, okay, so she's the interim coach and now she's the full-time head coach. And again, this is a young lady. I mean, she just hit 30 like not too long ago. So she's probably, if she's not the youngest HBCU Division I coach on the men's or the women's side, she's pretty close to it. So I mean, she is trying to, put together a team on the fly after a very awkward situation. And she's got talent. I mean, Amaya Mouse Scott is going to be all MEAC at some point this year, at some point in her career. She's definitely going to make the all rookie team. Erica Huggins, who I had the pleasure of watching play 4 years of high school ball, is an absolute talent. She scored 28 on Saturday. So Liliana Harrison is a center that needs a little more work offensively, but she's a terror on the boards and protecting the rim. So it's not like DSU women have bad players. They just caught some bad breaks. They've lost 3 MEAC games by a total of 6 points this year. Same for the men. Ponce James is living up to his preseason status. I think the thing that hurt Delaware State men right now is, and we didn't talk about it yet, but we do need to talk about it, and that is the gambling fiasco. Kamayan Shell, who was at A&T last year, was charged in that federal indictment. And it's important to note, Mr. Shell's indictment comes from what happened with A&T. There's been no indication as what happened to Delaware State yet, if there was. And I know this is probably embarrassing for Stan, because I know everybody, and I've called everybody else here coach, but Stan Waterman literally knows my family. Like, he's known me from the time my mother brought me home from the hospital. So I can call him Stan. But I know this is embarrassing for him, because I'm quite sure he didn't think that coming into the year that one of his transfers was going to be busted for point shaving. I can guarantee you that wasn't on his wasn't on his bingo card. And I'm sure for that group of young men, that is incredibly awkward. Like, yo, this dude came in here knowing that, Johnny Law was on his back. And I'm gonna give you guys a hint. When the feds come calling, it's not to borrow sugar or to use your landline. They come in with a purpose. They come in with intentions. And they come in with a list. So when the feds come calling, it's hard to beat a Fed case unless you're Donald Trump. Sorry, just had to throw that out there. But yeah, this had to be really hard on the Delaware State men's basketball team. Like, this is turmoil right now. This is not good. It's bad for the university. I don't even think it's fair to say it's bad for the university, but I know this is tough because think about this. You're thinking about the Delaware State football team that had its best record in 13 years. And they are the hot topic. And not just black college sports, but college sports, period. And then you have this women's wrestling program that is having a phenomenal first year. So, yeah, Adrian Crook, for folks like y'all, it's good. It's great for trolling. It's great for people who need jokes. It's great for people who need, slander against, a particular university. But I really hope that Stan and Coach Jazz don't feel like they're under any pressure. I'm quite sure they have the full support of Dr. Tony Allen and AD Tony Tucker. But right now, this is rough. This is rough. Because if you had told me that South Carolina State's women, who looked terrible in certain spots last year, oh my God, they looked awful, would have a better MEAC record than the Delaware State women. The Coppin State men, well, to be fair, Larry Stewart is a son of the program. Of course it does. You be on here making everybody's life a living hell. Not just us, not HBCU sports. Not just on our shows, but other people's shows too. We know how you get down. We have accepted it by now. But yes, I just don't know where the Delaware State men's and women's basketball program goes this year. But I do think that there will need to be a real emphasis on, strengthening the teams, the men's and women's teams for 2026, 2027. Because you're gonna see a point where teams start to pass you. Like, I think Coppin State's men are on the right track. obviously UMBS is on the right track. And UMBS is probably going to start stealing players that Delaware State normally would get from like Philly, Jersey, even Delaware. And I've already told you guys why Delaware State doesn't recruit Delaware kids, because Delaware kids' families don't want Delaware State to recruit Delaware kids. It's so weird to me. It is so weird to me that as a black population in a state like ours, that you have just said, oh, wow, I'm going to go with everything negative I've ever heard about Delaware State, and I don't want my kids going to play sports there or get an education there. Strange. But it's your choice. But yeah, and I have firsthand knowledge of this because I cover high school basketball here in Delaware. You guys know I wear a lot of hats. I don't have one on my head right now, but I wear a lot of hats. So, when you talk to parents about recruiting and different things, it's like, well, I would rather my kid go out of state, or I'd rather my kid go to University of Delaware if they can. And I'm like, so what's wrong with Delaware State? I mean, they know. I mean, I think they know by now I'm a Delaware State alum, as much as I ask about it. But I just want to hear this, so I know that my ears are still working. My eyes, that's a different story. I've lost my glasses. I can't see much of anything, but my ears still work pretty good. So I'm like, okay, so what's the problem about Delaware State? What's the issue? What's going on? And then they say, well, it's a party school. There's always some violence going on, and it's like, y'all are still going off of stuff that may have happened in the 90s. And it's 2026. Don't you think you need to sort of do your own research? And we live in a do your own research era, mind you. That's the most important thing. People who are anti-vax and all of that, and do your own research. And people who are pro do your own research, do the least amount of research on anything possible. And that includes Delaware people, black people about Delaware State, which again, I find to be incredibly weird. But hey, not my monkeys, not my circus, as my grandmother used to say. Soldier Rag said, if you are betting on the value of a home, if you're betting the value of a home on an A&T sports boarding event, yes, call the hotline. You need to call the hotline, period. Oh my God. While we're here, when I was live tweeting the games I covered for HBCU sports during football season, people were like, oh, so what's the, and we had people on the stream when we were covering, Ken and Kendrick, remember, when we were doing the stream for the Celebration Bowl, people were like, oh man, there goes my over, there goes my parlay, there goes my under. We don't give up about that. We don't. The proliferation of gambling has hurt sports so much because people really think that these athletes and reporters actually give a damn about your parlay, and we don't. We don't. So stop. Please stop. Stop asking me about, oh, is this athlete active this week? Oh, do you have any insights on how this school likes to play? No, I'm not answering you. Go away and call the damn hotline. Enough. Oh, hi, Mom. She says those negative statements about Delaware State are probably some of the stupidest statements ever made. She said it, y'all, not me. My mom got a little, my mom, she says what's on her mind. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's absolutely weird that Delaware black people have the issue with Delaware State, but all that means is that kids from Philly, Jersey, the DMV, and other places are going to come in and get an education while your kids are sitting at DCU looking stupid. What's DCU? The Crib University. Rather would have a degree from DSU than DCU. Just saying. But yeah. Yes. There's basketball season is in full swing. Very much looking forward to seeing how this all plays out, especially with Tennessee State. Really hopeful Tennessee State is able to win the OVC, because that would be huge. The only problem is, you know how this works. When a young hot coach succeeds, that's when the offers start coming in. I mean, we've seen it with Deshaun Jackson, Delaware State. He was up for the Sacramento State job. And I'm telling y'all, If DSU wins the Celebration Bowl within the next year or two, he's absolutely getting a high-level D1 job. You might as well set your watch by it. Guaranteed. If Delaware State wins the Celebration Bowl in 2026 or 2027, he's as good as gone. And I don't want that to be the case. But we know how this works. Look at Eddie George. Eddie George didn't even want to coach. And then within a few years, he took Tennessee State to the FCS playoffs. Now he's in FBS at Bowling Green. That's just how it works, man. That's just how it works. And granted, Ken Rashad, he makes a great point about how some coaches have to sort of, take the long way. Because never forget, Jerry Mack had like a incredible road from going from North Carolina Central to Kennesaw State. He had to be a running backs coach, an assistant coach, all of that, before Kennesaw State gave him a shot as the interim, mind you. And then again, he took Kennesaw State to a bowl game this year. So just be prepared. If you're an HBCU with a front porch sport, whether it's football or basketball, be prepared for your young, successful coach to be poached. The game is the game. The game is the game. Yes, Soldier Rag, you are trusting 18 and 22-year-olds to make good decisions with your money. Make better decisions. Yes. Betting on professional athletes is risky enough, because especially in the NBA era of load management, that's risky in itself. But college kids, you just throwing your money away. What's that old saying? A fool and his money soon part. A lot of fools parting with their money based on the whims of college kids. God bless. Silas said, "You're right, Chris. A guy was mad in the comments on HBCU Legends about Prairie View losing the Celebration Bowl because he lost a lot of money, and he was a Texas Southern University alum." That says it all right there. You supposed to be trolling Prairie View, not, "Oh man, they lost. I lost my money." You should be like, Prairie View lost. Gambling, man. It's all bad. It is all bad. So please, for the love of God, stop asking us, stop asking other HBCU outlets about insider track so you can make your bets on your parlays and your over-unders or whatever, because we don't give a flying, stop it. Just stop. Please. Mom says we've had family in DSU every decade since the 1960s, and every single one of them are successful professionals. I guess that counts. I guess that includes me. Yeah, I think that includes me. My younger cousin, though, she just graduated with a business degree from Delaware State. So yeah. So my younger cousin has made better use of her degree, or a degree that's going to make her more money than I did. But still, it all counts, man. It all counts. We got tradition in our family, man. Delaware State, we are a Delaware State family. Soldier Rag said, honestly, you have to worry about all of our sports. Tennessee took A&T's track and field coach. Oh, I didn't know that. Whoa. Damn. Ooh. Yeah, all sports. Yeah, so I mean, again, if you got a great coach at your HBCU, prepare for them to be poached. That's why it's important we have these pipelines that, we keep young, fresh college coaches in the building, so that when one coach leaves, another one can step up, and it's a line of succession. And even though the one thing I will say about this cycle, there was only one MEAC coaching opening anyway, and I don't have any problems with Howard selecting Ted White, because Ted White still owns most of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference passing records from his time as Howard's quarterback, and he has coached at the HBCU level. So yes, Ted White, Howard University, natural fit, no problem with that. But I am stunned that neither Howard or any other, I was stunned that Howard nor any other HBCU reached out to a Henry Frazier or Dr. Alvin Parker, and I'm still absolutely floored that Teddy Keaton is not Clark Atlanta's coach anymore. That is, hey, Terry Sims. He led Bethune-Cookman to a MEAC championship once upon a time. So I'm not going to say, it's a bad hire, but I'm still very weirded out about Teddy Keaton being let go by Clark Atlanta, especially when he did something that no other Clark Atlanta football coach had ever done, and that's take them to the SIAC championship game. But you never know what the future holds. There might be an opening in the MEAC next year. There might be an opening in the SWAC next year. Hard to tell. There's only 2 HBCU football openings right now, and they're both at Division II. Bowie State is still looking for a coach in the CIAA, and Morehouse. Oh my God. Does Morehouse even care about football? That's probably a question better suited for my colleague, Jared Hoffman, which reminds me, you can tune into the HBCU Sports YouTube channel tomorrow for the Better Than Less Than podcast with my colleague, Jared Hoffman. He's going to cover all things D2 and AIA, which includes the CIAA, the SIAC, the HBCUAC, and our friends, Florida Memorial, Xavier, and the Red River Conference, so on and so forth. So please tune into the Better Than Less Than podcast with Jared Hoffman tomorrow. But yeah. Okay, so Auntie Roy said that's several years ago that our track and field coach went to Tennessee. Okay, so it wasn't a current track and field coach. But yes, our schools, it seems like we're like the minor leagues for PWIs and the group of 4. It sucks. And then, of course, because everything trickles down, D2s and NAIAs become the minor leagues for FCS and mid-majors. I don't know how sustainable this new era of transfer portal and NIL is going to be, but we all better buckle up, man, because it's going to be a bumpy ride regardless. So hopefully we all are prepared for what is going to happen with all of this, and hopefully our schools are prepared for it. So yes, I think that's going to do it. We had a pretty good show today. So thank you guys for tuning in to the MEAC More with your boy Chris Stevens. Greatly appreciate y'all as always. Don't forget, if you want to donate, we have Cash App. You can go to $HBCU Sports. We have the Zelle app. Go to the Zelle app, type in donate at hbcusports.com. You can donate there. Also have a website, hbcusports.com/donate. You can donate there. And you can also drop super chats here. $1, $2, 20 million if you got it like Mackenzie Scott. And don't forget, you can subscribe to this channel and become a level 1 or level 2 member for just $4.99 a month. You can get all the Black college sports news that's fit to print and broadcast as we like to give it to you. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Almost forgot. We're on the Musty app. That's Twitter, TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky. Just search for HBCU Sports. You name it, we're there. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow. Better Than Less Than podcast with Jared Hoffman. Friday, HBCU Sports Live with myself and Kim Rashad and probably Jared Hoffman as well. So thank you guys for watching. And until the next time we speak, y'all take care of yourselves and each other. We gone. Wait, okay, now we gone.